Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to need to make a pattern so that we can keep making this dress over and over again. You can wear this 100 times this summer. I'm using butcher paper. Check the links in the description box so that you can find out where I get this. It's really inexpensive. And you're going to need an old t-shirt or any t-shirt really that fits you very well. This is for Lily, and this is a t-shirt that fits her pretty good. It's not too tight and it's perfect for a t-shirt dress. Today we're doing a super simple pattern. We're just going to outline the entire t-shirt and draw it to the length that we want. So her dress ended up being 25 inches, which was right above her knee. And so I traced all the way around the t-shirt and down 25 inches from under the arm. That's where it was. I measured from under the arm down to right above her knee. And so from under her arm to above her knee was 25 inches. And so that's how I determined the length of the dress that I wanted. And you can do this a couple different ways. Normally I would do the sleeve separately, but I wanted to make a super simple dress for you guys. And so the sleeve is attached to the pattern. So this is very easy. So you can see I drew down 25 inches. So those are just all my measurements on the side. In a future tutorial, we'll break down measurements and things like that. It's also important that you have stretch fabric. So you need like a knit fabric for this. It's really good for a t-shirt dress. And you can use 4-way stretch, but you at least need it to stretch 2 different ways. After you've traced your pattern, you want to cut it out. And then after I traced it and cut it, I realized that there wasn't enough space in the underarm area. So I went back in and brought it in some and cut it out. So it's the beauty of having your own pattern. You can make it just the way you want. So if I wanted it a little more loose, I could have made it a little bit bigger. Also, when you're tracing your pattern, make sure you leave about a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the outside. So don't trace it exactly like the t-shirt. Give yourself about a 1/2 inch. So next I'm getting my fabric ready. I got this fabric at Joann Fabric Stores, and it is a 4-way stretch, but clearly the one side stretches more than the other side. So I wanted to make sure that I had that side going with the stretch on my pattern. And fold it in 4s. So you're going to fold it over once and then fold it over again. So the folds are closest to my body, and you can see I'm lining the center of the dress right up on those folds. Then you're going to pin everything into place because, especially if you're using this butcher paper, it is going to roll up and leave. So make sure you pin that down. And you can see at the bottom of the dress, I kind of rounded it off. That's just my personal preference. You don't have to do that. You could have just totally drawn it straight down, but I just like that rounded look. It just looks more like a t-shirt, right? So after you have your pieces cut out, you should have 2 dress pieces. So simple. You're pretty much done. Once you put this together, you're pretty much done. So I'm just folding those pieces in half, and I'm going to layer them on top of each other. And I'm laying them on top of each other so that I can lower the neckline in the front. Just like on your t-shirts or pretty much all of your clothing, the neckline in the front is lower than the neckline in the back. And so I'm giving about 1.5 inches right there in the front. And then you're going to need your collar. So you'll need this strip to be 1.25 inches wide is what I used. And the first time I cut it too short, so I'm cutting it the second time so that it gives a little more room in the neck. And I'm thinking this is about 19 inches, but I'm not sure. So next time I'll be sure to include measurements. And then I'm just double checking to make sure that that is the length that I want to use for my t-shirt. Your t-shirt may be a little different, and your head may be a little different. One of the things that I like about making t-shirt dresses is that I can make them so that they accommodate my head and my hair. And I'm just going to use my serger to sew all the way around this dress, just leaving the armholes, the neck hole, and the leg holes open. Leg space, not holes really for legs, like leg space, the bottom of the dress, leaving that open. If you don't have a serger, you can just use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. You want to use a zigzag stretch. You want to use a zigzag stitch with stretch fabric because then it'll still allow it to stretch. Now I've taken that collar strip and the neckline, took that, stitched both ends together, and now I'm just folding it in half and attaching it around the neckline. After I've pinned the neckline into place, then I'm just going to go back around with my serger and attach it to the inside of the neckline, the collar, neckline, putting all these pieces together, okay? Again, if you don't have a serger, just use a zigzag stitch. And so this is what it looks like once it's stitched in there. And then we're just gonna flip it up, okay? And then top stitch right across the top there. And I'm just doing that with a straight stitch on my sewing machine. And that's gonna hold it upright and in place. Don't pull the fabric when you're doing this, just sew right across the top and you'll still have stretch. Next, for the armholes, I did something a little bit different. Normally I probably would have used a double needle to do this, but I'm showing you guys that you can just use a zigzag stitch to get the job done. And so that's how the sleeve looks. And I tucked the hem of the dress under, and now I'm using my double needle. And you'll see what kind of look that gives you. So for the hem of the dress, I just folded it under slightly, maybe a 1/2 inch, and then I used my double needle to finish that. And I really like how the double needle looks on knits. It looks just like your clothing that you buy at the store. And here's how the dress turned out. And then Lily's 13 now, so she styles her stuff how she wants it. Thanks for watching.